The
Okay,
practice.
let's go. All right, Alyssa, I'm so excited for this one. Okay, so I'm Alexis. I'm the founder of Fanfare. Nice to see you guys. Florals are like so fun. You can have that little, it's literally a year-round thing. I mean, initially Alyssa and I were talking about this, we're like, oh, they're so great for spring. And it's like, no, actually, like you could use flowers that are made of balloons any time of year. So I was creating some fun mock-ups. I'm gonna just show you one really quickly that I thought was really cool. Um, so I added all of these fun flowers in here that you guys can use. This is very spring-like. There's a bunch that are, you got these scary Halloween faces, but you got all these pretty flowers in here that you could totally use year around. So I was just futzing with some mock-up ideas, and this is kind of what came to mind when we initially talked about this. But then I created some fun ones that were like, um, let's see. Oh, one's on my personal one, my personal fanfare. This was one of the original ones. Anyhow, I just wanted to show you that I added a bunch of flowers. Now I need to know how to make them to actually sell this to somebody. So, Alyssa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I am with Party Lane and NWI Party in the Chicagoland area. I've been in business for, oh boy, it's so funny because all of a sudden, every few years, I realize I've been saying the same many years for like 2 years now because I don't know where time goes. And I've been in business for a little bit over 17 years right now. So it's creeping up there. Um, Okay, so I'm really excited to be doing flowers. I know that we just did a lot of flowers last weekend for Easter too, and we do use them year round as well because you could use them for birthdays. We did some poinsettias for Christmas. We did like the wreath, and then we put the poinsettia flowers on it. Oh, I wanted to grab some links to show that flower. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Could you please look this white links for me, please? So there's like so many cute ways that you can make flowers. I'm not going to go into distorted flowers here just because they do take a long time and a lot of practice. There are a lot of YouTube tutorials as well that show it, but I feel like that's something that takes a lot more time. But what I tend to sell a lot of, especially in the spring and then going into Mother's Day, is not just the uh, regular 5 petal flowers, but also all of the twisted flowers that are super easy to make. But I feel like those add a really high perceived value to your decor and are a great way just to work it in. And I have some of them that I have versions that I do with 5 inch, and then also where I create them with the twisted flowers. So they almost work like companion pieces that go together. So I'm going to just jump into it. Does anyone have any
Hold on.
questions to start off?
Yeah, before we jump in, learning hands-on is like such a great way. And we are recording this, so you can come back to this. But if you guys have 5 inches or 260s with you right now, follow along because as you're doing it, questions come up when you actually do it versus when you just watch.
Absolutely.
So totally invite you to follow along with Alyssa hands-on.
Yeah, so I prefer to use 260s when I twist. There are some that I do 160s with, and my preferred twisting balloon is Sempertex. I do have some that I'm going to be using that are, and I'll show you the difference because I have some that are Calisan too. Those are just a little bit tighter when you work with them. I don't, let me see if I have any Tough Checks 160s or 260s as well. Um, the reason that I prefer to work with Sempertex is just because they're the easiest on my hands and they're the easiest to mold, like to push the air down on. The Calisan ones just blow up a little bit tighter. So I always say I compare everything to an orange because if anyone, has anyone here ever, did they have any background in twisting? So could they speak up a little bit?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Balloon
Hey, hi.
twister as well.
That's all. So I compare everything to orange because as we know, like if you're a twister, then you know that orange always inflates a little bit smaller and is a little bit harder to work with on your hands. Um,
I have
and
a
there's,
question before you show us.
yeah, go ahead.
If there is an install that's outside and we're offering the florals using the 260s, do you recommend using high float?
The high float is more if you want. I have the high float 260 adapter right here. And what's funny is that I've changed my high float and I cannot figure out how to get it onto my high float because every time I've worked with it, it's already been attached. I've never had to put it on myself. But the high float helps it to last longer, but it's not going to help it to perform better outdoors, if that makes sense. The issues that you have outdoors is that the direct sunlight, if it's tight, is going to cause it to pop, or else it's going to cause it to shrink a little bit faster. So if I was going to be doing some twisted elements, I would make sure that I was either putting it up later in the day so that it's not going to be during the hottest part of sun. Like I would do it, 2 p.m. or later, have it in shade if possible, because then I think that you'll have some good results. But if you're in direct sunlight, setting this thing up at 10 a.m., then I would not do it because I feel like you're just going to be setting yourself up for failure and doing a ton of work that's not going to be able to be appreciated. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
literally that's what happened to me. I had a setup in the morning,
Hmm.
uh, gave the product to my client, it was beautiful, but it didn't last the whole event.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. There's nothing that's more frustrating than that because it's like you do all of the work and then you end up having to have the you do all of the work, you have a dissatisfied client, and you probably didn't get paid for it because you had to offer a refund on those.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay,
like
so
the
the high
worst.
float doesn't really help with the outdoor performance. It's only the longevity.
So what high float does, how it performs, is that it seals the inside of the balloon to prevent air from leaking out of the balloon. So so what it's going to do is it's going to prevent it from shrinking down so that it's going to last longer, but it's not going to affect how it performs in direct sunlight. Because that's more like the balloon taking a beating and wearing down from the outside rather than the air just leaking out from the inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I don't know if I'm asking if it makes sense, not for your failure to grasp it, but my ability to describe it correctly.
I guess
I don't
how far in advance can you make these flowers?
I usually make mine a few days in advance. So as long as it's stored in a cool, dry area. The ones that we did for Easter, we made last week Wednesday, I think. So we made them on Wednesday. We bagged them. I installed my setup on Friday. It stayed up until Monday and everything still looked good. I lost like maybe a tiny little piece of it, but that was it. So I'm still able to get some good time out of it when it's temperature controlled indoors and I bag it before I need to make it. I know I did Stacy's on here and we did some flowers and some things using Tough Text 260s and everything with the 260s lasted for a long, long time. How long would you
Oh
say
my
those stayed
gosh,
up?
for like almost 3 I did not pop Christmas until I did not pop Halloween until Christmas. And those new ones from those Tough Text ones lasted great. The black went down a little because they were in that front hot window.
Yeah.
But everything we did that was in the silvery,
Hmm.
that lasted forever perfectly. And we didn't high float those.
No, they were not high floated. And I know they were up for at least a good month, wouldn't you say?
No, more than that. Because
More than that.
we did the build before Halloween, and I did not even pop the silvery until after Christmas because I used that arch for Christmas with Nightmare Before Halloween.
Okay. There you go.
And I mean, they weren't really looking bad, the twisted ones. The longer ones that were not twisted, they were getting some deflation, but like, so a little on the vines. But I popped the candy after Christmas as well, but I took the twisted balloons off of it before Christmas and the lollipops and stuff. But when I popped them, they were still good. So I will say for longevity, I would 100% vote for Tough Tex there. But for, something that's not going to be up more than 3 days, then Sempertex,
Yeah, some protects is just a little bit easier on the hands, I feel like. Okay.
a lot
So,
a bit easier.
but in terms of sizing, this is the tough text compared to the separate text, and you can see that they inflate almost exactly the same. So you're working with same balloon. This one is the Calisan in comparison, and see how it's just a. I know that it doesn't look that much narrower, but see how it's a little bit narrower. And people really like the Decomex too. I just personally don't work with Decomex. It's not a brand that I use a lot because you could only order it from Bargain, and they're not my main distributor. Um, like I really like the colors for the Calisan ones, but it's just and like if I squeeze it, it's really hard to squeeze. Whereas see how squishy this one is in comparison. I don't know if you could tell by looking, but I need to squeeze this a lot harder. So it's going to be like super easy on my hands, easiest on my hands, hard on my hands. Like it's really tough to squeeze this, which they do last well because they're so tough, but it also is just a lot harder to work with in terms of what type of, how tired your hands are going to get right away. Okay, so who here, I want to know just like the general basis for, in terms of, does everybody know how to make a pinch twist? Basic things like that?
Yes.
Or, okay. Okay, so I'm going to show on leaves like a basic step. What I do is pinch, twist. I'm going to pull this over so at the top is right by that little knot. And I'm going to twist it around. And then my first one, I'm going to push through because that's going to lock it into place. And then I'm going to do 2 more of those. This ends up being when I do flowers on a stem, how I hold up a lot of my flowers, what I use for the bottom. When you work, what I
Sorry,
do.
I'm noticing though you also have a bunch of that tail hanging out on the other side. So how much did you plan to leave so that you could twist this thing without it popping?
Well, this one is for a stem, so I was trying to approximate how much I needed, but I usually leave at least a hand.
Okay.
And what I'm going to teach you is I count pumps when I'm making something. So I do have some inflators that I could work with that will inflate 260s, which is what we prefer to do just because it's faster and easier. But I know not everybody has that. So then what I do is I count my pumps when I inflate, where it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll say that one is 4 pumps, that one is 5 pumps. So we know how much to get to. So this would be how I make like my basis for what it's going to sit on for a flower. If it has leaves, and I do those with a loop. So a loop, you're just bending it over. Again, give it a little push for the air. Give it another little push for the air. So now I have, like this would be a stem that the flower is going to sit on. Okay. The reason that they pop is because you run out of air, which is why it's really important. Soft balloons twist a lot easier than heavy balloons. I also do love to twist with mirrors because I feel like they're really, really pretty. And they just look beautiful. They give that little bit of shine too. So I'm going to show a super simple flower that I do 2 ways that gets attached to one of these stems. And I like to think of it as a spring hyacinth. And it's one of my favorites to make and so easy. This one is going to be 5 pumps. Is anyone twisting with me or no?
I got to eat lunch.
That's fine.
I'm
I was
hungry.
just curious because if so, then
Yeah.
I'd go a little bit slower.
Right.
Okay. So I did that with 5 pumps. I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to do 1 twist. And then I'm going to do 2. So 1 bubble and then 2 bubbles. It's going to be my pattern until it gets to the end. And then I just stand it up at the top.
When you're just doing the little twists, about how many fingers width are your uh do you measure like that often or no?
I measure. Ooh. Ignore that. I measure all of mine on my thumb. These are just my standard bubbles. I do a 1 inch bubble, but I don't measure it anymore because I just know how big a 1 inch bubble is. Like I'm pretty consistent because I've been making them for a while. So it's like 1 inch bubble, 1 inch bubble. I just know what it looks like. I used to have to measure those.
So you have a bubble and then a pinch and then a bubble and then a pinch?
Yep, bubble, pinch, bubble, pinch. And we're just going to carry on up the design.
Because your hand is in the way of seeing what you've done so far, if you don't mind. Okay.
I have to get bubble, pinch. Let's see if I can get that last one. Okay, so this is like my little tiny grape hyacinth.
It looks like one bubble for 2 pinches?
That's just a bubble,
2 pinches.
2 pinch twist.
Oh,
Bubble.
2. Okay.
Yep, 2 pinch twist,
Okay.
bubble, 2 pinch
Cute.
twist, bubble, 2 pinch twist. Yeah, it's just a cute little detail. I
Beautiful.
usually do these in 3s. I'm going to show you the other thing that I like to do with them is that I also make these with 5 inch to do a bigger version of it. And then I'll put them together.
With
You know
what? With Ivid?
5 inch.
5
Sorry.
inch. Okay. Okay.
You know, Kelly, could you? I wasn't thinking about that, about how long it would take me to hand inflate all these. Could you inflate these all for me and put them in here at do 0.2. Thanks. And then let a little bit of air out on those. So we're going to make another one of these. So I do 4 pumps. I always burp it. I stretch my neck before I tie and pop my fingers out instead of pulling over my fingers because then it doesn't hurt your hands as much to tie it.
And you don't find that stretching it creates little tears in it?
I haven't had an issue.
Okay, because that's the thing that I look for when I do something twisted, whether it's flowers or a cupcake or something. I make sure to do it the night before because lo and behold, part of it deflates. And I'm assuming that's because I made a little tear when I tied it.
Oh, yeah, I don't really get, you get it in your first bubble consistently.
Oftentimes, yeah, when I'm making the bow, the part where I first tied it, that part of the bow is deflated.
I would love to see how you tie a balloon because you notice that when I tie, I do stretch mine. But what I don't do is I don't go around my fingers like most people do because I feel
Okay.
like that
Lift it up
does
a little
cause,
higher. Lift it
this
up a little.
is
Thank you.
like
Yep.
this is how most people tie, right? They're
Yes, I
really
do.
stretching it. And what you're doing is I feel like that's more likely to make the tear than anything else. So what I would do is I would give it a bigger burp. So
Yeah,
that
I'm used
you
to doing that.
have a longer tail, but I don't actually go around my fingers like that. I pull and twist and make a loop.
Oh. And pop your
Go
fingers out,
through.
like you said. Okay.
And then it not only saves my fingers from not having to go over them, but I think that's why I don't get any tears in my necks because I have heard about that problem from other people too. It's
Thank
not
you.
something that I've ever really experienced. I actually started tying like that about 15 years ago because I broke a finger.
Mm.
And I needed, and what's funny is that I could then do it with these 2 fingers or these 2 fingers, but it's like really show it again because I've had people like literally ask me, how do I tie a balloon? Because it's really fast and I don't hurt my fingers at all because I just grab it, 2 fingers, twist to make a hole, and then put it through and snap.
Okay.
So it never even slides over my fingers. And I think that's more what prevents that additional friction from it.
Yeah, if I can get that, that'll be a game changer.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, I should have had you tie it closer to the edge. I didn't tell her. Okay, so I'm going to turn these all into a bunch of half twist. Does everybody know how to split twist their 5 inch?
Yes.
So For those who are watching later, all I'm doing is just applying even pressure, twisting one hand one way, the other hand the other, and then going around.
Can I ask how big, will you hold up the balloon? Before you tie it together, I just want to see kind of how big.
Did you measure this? To me, it looks like it's to about 2 inches.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll find out how good my eye is on that. 1 3/4. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. These are all good questions. Thank you.
Like a little bit more than 3 inches.
Ooh, a little bit smaller than 3 inches. Okay. It is round though. We inflated it to 0.2 on the with the regular tip on the twin sizer. For anybody who does their measurements like that. Stacy Ellis did give me a foot pedal.
Allie, I don't know what you're doing or if you're working on something else, but I saw a 260 and you didn't speak up when Alyssa asked if anyone's trying this along. Are you following along and messing with it on your own? You do not need to be shy here.
Please don't be shy.
A little bit. I'm trying to.
So tell us what's going wrong too, because those are the moments that help us
Know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, just trying to listen and work alongside, and I think I'm just a little bit behind. This is not, I haven't done a lot of twisting before, so this is a new
Oh, me
thing
neither.
for me.
Well, you're new company.
So yeah, I'm trying to follow along, but I'm slow because it's a new thing for me. So yeah.
Luckily,
So
there's replays.
so I'm like trying to go, but if I'm not doing it, I'm kind of like, I'll come back and work on it when I can slow it down, I guess.
Yeah.
Got
The
it.
first time's the hardest.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did is I tied a 260 scrap to my first half twist. And now I'm just going to stack these like you do a duplet and go around each one to build a tiny little mini column. And what I do is I look for, are any of these missized? I should have used a bigger scrap. Run out. So if you run out of balloon, just tie in another one. Not a big deal.
So you're essentially using just a different technique to create a similar flower as the one you just made?
I am, because they look so pretty together.
When you finish that, can you show
And
us
I
again?
totally understand why you're doing this, but I'm going to ask this for class participation. The
Thank you.
reason why you're using a split in half instead of just a downsized 5 inch is because of how it winds up looking more like an ear twist and giving it a different shape versus the concept of making it look like a little garland.
Yeah, I don't want it to look like a little garland. I want it to look like the grapes. And I also want it to look very similar to this. See how even though it's different because the one is bubble and then one and then two and then one and then two. But this with the little half twist garlands, it looks extremely similar. So they look like they belong in the same family, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And it also just helps to save product because you don't need it to be that big.
Well, and it's hard to size a 5 inch down that small and push all the air out to the end, you know.
You're going to end up getting the weird tips on it. Sorry, could you grab me scissors? Sorry, I had a 7 a.m. delivery today. I'm like, I was running. Okay. I like when it has a little bit of body because I feel like when I look at my flowers in my garden, doesn't that look prettier when it has a tiny bit of a curve to it?
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to, whoop, excuse me. Take my end
Hmm.
and I'm just pulling it in, twisting it. So now we have
That one looks like it could almost go on a 350 stem.
It could if I had any, but I don't.
Yep.
So
Beautiful.
what I do a lot of times is I'll have like a couple of these in the back, like 2 or 3 of these in the back, and then, a few of these in the front. Because then what it does is it gives it more depth and it's the same. So they look like maybe cousins instead of sisters, but they look like they belong together. They're in the same family. You could do some a little bit taller, some a little bit shorter. And then you have this pretty little spring flower. What's nice about this is if you're doing anything that's a balloon wall, if you are doing anything outdoors, this is going to hold up better. I would do this outside. I would not really do this outside just because of how it's going to hold up in the sun if it is an outdoor display. Too. I didn't see the name of who asked that question earlier. I apologize. Is she still here?
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm doing it along, but yeah, I heard you.
Okay, I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry.
Adriana.
Hi, Adriana. Okay, so like this would be something that you could put outside. This would be something that I wouldn't put outside. This is going to not last well. This is going to last well.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the hyacinth here?
I have 2.
Yeah.
So the one that you just did with the 5-inch,
Mhm.
I'm using a Legenda. What is the?
Are you using the little 260 inflator or are you using the tips?
The 260 inflator.
A 260 inflator? Oh boy. So you have a baby Genda. Do you have a baby Genda or a Legenda? I feel like it inflates to like 8 or something like that. I don't have a Legenda. I've worked with them, but I don't have one personally. So I don't know the exact measurement for it, but about, I would say 2 to 2.5 inches and then split it.
Okay. And then my second question, I had to step away, so I'm sorry if I'm asking this again, but
No, you're fine.
when you add these flowers to a garland, like how are you pricing that?
I do these for $5 and these for like 7 to 10 when I add them on. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just say that it's going to be a garland with florals and I add $10 a linear foot. That's how I do it. And then I, in my head, just kind of figure out how I want to put it. And I just give them the value in my head. I never tell people you're going to be getting 5 flowers or 4 flowers or 3 flowers like this, because that way I feel like it just sets you up better for success again. So instead of telling them a specific number that they're going to have, because you don't want them to look at it. And sometimes, like when you make it, you might think that you're going to use them. Because I think that I had like 5 or 6 extra flowers this weekend that they just would have looked weird if I put them in because it looked done. And if I would have gone, there was no place to really add those with it looking good. But so I don't want to sell the number of flowers and then just be adding them because they paid for them, even if it's going to ruin the design. Or say that I, didn't make if there, some people go through and they count them. They'll be like, you said that there's going to be 3 of these and 7 of these, and instead there's 4 of these and 3 of these. And it's like, well, that looked better and it took up the same amount of space. So I think just add linear foot or add it as a perceived value to your package instead of telling them exactly what they're getting. Did that answer your question for that? It's kind of a rough question for me to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, we're going to go into one of my other favorites, which is, I've heard it called, I think that it's a tulip. I'm going to do it 5. And I do mine, some people, I shouldn't say I do it this way because you can make it with 1 balloon or you can make it with 2 balloons. And I do it both ways. And it usually depends upon how much balloon I went through, like how big my sizing is. Because most of the time I try to do it with 1, but if it's not working, then I'll just add another balloon to it. Because exact same design. shade. This is orchid, one of my favorite colors for flowers. So I'm going to do another little stem.
Do you always do your stems that way, or do you have other? I've seen like kind of like the braided, it's not braided. It's like these smaller leaves that come together. I can show you a picture, but do you always do stems like that?
Not always. I've done them, but this is the majority of the time how I do my stem just because of how I put it in. And then what I'll do is I'll add leaves. This is, I forgot to say, thank you for bringing that up. This is something else that I'm going to teach a leaf, but this is also something that when I put the flowers together, like especially if I do a 5-petal flower and it's going into a wall, I'll do these in all green. And then I'll do 2 or 3 of them and have them stick out the side, kind of like little leaves, because they also pass as something like that. And I did those on the Easter one this weekend too. I'll put some pictures of this, of a couple of my floral setups into the group. But this makes a good leaf as well as a hyacinth.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Okay, so this one I start from the top and I'm going to do 3 twists, but they're going to be smaller than the 1-inch bubble. It's more like a 3/4 inch bubble. Just want it to be a little bit tighter. So I am one of those who started out with face painting and balloon twisting and then moved into decor. Well, I started out with face painting and people were like, can you balloon twist? And I was like, sure, because I needed money. But I don't consider myself to be a balloon twister because everything that I know, I completely self-taught myself. So please take that all into regard. I find that I don't always even call things the things that people call them. In order to come down, I measure it from my thumb down to about the base of my hand for the first one. I find that that's where I want it to be. I go down. Okay, come on. When you go up and down, they do call it a bird body. That much I know.
Yes. How many pinch twists do you have on top? 2 or 3?
3.
I do 3 on top and then I do 3 coming down. Then I make a tiny little bubble and I just put it through. Do you have to do that? No, the reason that I do that is because I have trouble sometimes moving my balloons through and they'll pop or they'll lose their shape. And to me, that's an easier solution. And it's going to be hidden in my stem. It also gives me something to hang on to when I do my next part. Then I stretch my balloon. Here I squeezed it and made it longer.
I call this a rose.
You call it a rose? See, I call this one a tulip. What I do is afterwards, I cross it over the bottom of the bubble.
That makes it easier.
And then I go around my little knot. And then I give it another tiny little twist. Whenever I cut it, I just do a twist. Bring it down. So it's this one. Yeah, I have heard other people call this a rose too. To me, it looks more like a tulip. I don't know.
That
And the
looks
rose,
super cool. So
it
you
really
told
matters.
me,
To make my rose, I go back up.
sorry.
I
You
go
go
back
back up.
so I come down. Hooking it on the bottom would probably be a good thing, but I haven't ever done that. But I go back up and then I sneak it under
Okay.
the back balloon and tie it up to the top pinch twist. So,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah,
pretty.
thank you.
Yeah, show everyone
That's-
again. And then I take my extra little bottom and tie this in. I let a
Nice.
little bit too much air out there, but that's okay if it's in a group in
Very
here.
cute.
Yeah.
And do you purposely have the beginning of the thing that goes around is a little bit thinner? I mean, that looks really stylish.
So, Yeah, I always do it this way.
Yeah.
It's just because I do it this way. It's not
Yep.
necessarily on purpose. It's just because for me, it fits better than having the two fat ones. So it's just like a personal preference, which is why I do the majority of what I do is personal preference.
Right. Yep.
I mean, tell you guys too, we're gonna see one of the things that I do for my Mother's Day when people order a big Mother's Day backdrop and you're seeing this start to come together is I give them as a like a little gift with purchase if they spend $1,000, is that then they get a Mother's Day bouquet that then they hold as a prop when they take their photos. So because it's something that's interactive, they
Right.
love to pick it up and hold it in the pictures, and you get all these
And
pictures
that's
of
really
people,
3D.
yeah, holding the
You know?
really pretty ones. So I'm going to show you how I make my rose next.
Oh,
This one takes 2 balloons. It actually works better with a 160, but I don't have any 160s that I like. So let's try and do it with the 260s.
I never met a 160 that I liked.
But again, I'm doing 4 pumps. I fill almost everything with 4 or 5 pumps when I make flowers.
One thing I found, if I can say, I have the legenda. I don't know if we call this the baby legenda, but to make it a little bit thinner than a normal 260, you maybe you've done this already, but you kind of pull it,
Mhm.
and then yeah.
So you could absolutely pull it. And sometimes I just squeeze and stretch too. That'll also make it a little bit thinner.
So what do you have there so far?
So far I started my top again with 3. And then I'm also going to go to the base of my hand and come down. So this is starting out the same as the tulip. So it's the same where I have the 3 on the top for my center. And then I have my little mini bird body with the 3. I'm going to do my second twist now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the same length. We tiny little do a twist. Do a bubble. Turn that into a pin twist.
So did you twist it? You didn't twist it into the other 3 pinch twists?
Nope. Just around it. Do my other bubble. Then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 twists. I'm running out. So this is what your top is starting to look like. Ran out of balloon. Then I tie it in. To my next one right here. See how I have 2. And then I have 2 that don't have it. Again, give myself the little pin twist. Come down. And I'm going to put that through my 2 on the bottom. Off my twist. I could lock it by putting the neck around it so I don't lose it again. And then I come back up and do my little pinch twist.
So when you tied the second balloon in, you tied it into a pinch twist?
I tied it in where there wasn't a pinch twist and brought it around.
Okay.
Then I do stretch it and I just do a little loop around that row.
So you tied it in where there wasn't a pinch twist and you made a pinch twist.
Made a pinch twist,
You're going to end up with pinch twists on all four corners, it looks like.
all four corners. And then we have the loop.
That's pretty.
That goes around the whole way. And then I usually cut this off because I have all four of them do have the up and down. I don't know what you'd call that. Up and down. So I'm just going to tie this off.
So for the second round of the loop, you just go pinch twist to pinch twist and make a second loop or a
Exactly. And just make a little tiny loop around just to give it some more dimension.
That looks very advanced to me. Was there something in your mind where you were like, okay, I'm just building the base and then I'm creating these four and then I'm going around it? Like, is that how you go with you building all your flowers? I'm building the bulb and then I'm showing off the petals. Like, what's the process in your mind? Because like that looked like a Rubik's Cube, honestly.
And
So
I'm sorry, I know I'm late. So can you show me again, Alyssa, just up because now that you said that, Alexis, so did you make like a little like a bell pepper, I call it, in the middle? Yeah.
yes. Yes. You have
Okay.
your little bell
Got it.
pepper.
Okay.
And then you do 2 twists on the bottom.
Got it.
And then I come up,
Mhm.
pinch twist,
Pinch.
make a little like sometimes I call them dashes because I always think in my
Okay.
head like Morse code. I'm like dash dash dot,
Yeah.
but I don't know what it's actually
Okay.
called. So I do my little dash and then I do my pinch twist and then I come back down. Or sorry,
Oh,
I
got
didn't come
it.
back down. So I did my dash, I do my pinch twist. Then I think honestly, Alexis, how I came up with it is that I just needed to make a rose and I learned it with doing it with 160s and twisting it and doing an infinity circle. And it was really hard for me. But I knew that a rose builds outwards. So I was just like, okay, well, how do I just do this? And I just kind of worked with it until I did something that I liked. And then I do one more, and then I do 2 more dashes with a twist to connect it to the first part because I haven't figured out the right number of pumps to be able to do like dash dot dash dot dash dot dash and make it 4. I would love to make it 5 because I think that 5 would be even prettier. But again, I would just have to work on my measurements. And you can see my measurements are off. Look, like this is not the same. See how that's smaller than that one?
That's the beauty of flowers. They're
Yes,
never perfect.
exactly.
They're just beautiful.
But the reason I'm telling you that is because don't look at it. I don't think that any of you looked at it and you were like, oh my goodness, look, those aren't the same. This is not a competition piece. So you know what? Your customer is going to look at this and be like, that's beautiful. So don't look at it when you're making it and think to yourself, oh, that's not perfect. I need to start over. It's okay if everything isn't sized exactly the same as long as it, looks like it goes together. Okay, so I end up with 2 dots and 4 dashes. So I tie in another pinch twist. Do my pinch twist tied in up here. Bring it down. Tie it into here. Bring it up. Do my last pinch twist. And then after my last pinch twist, I do my loops on the outside, which are just a little bit longer so that they could have a swoop to them. And I'll take this. And these are really pretty, just blue dotted or dashed into your garland as well.
without a stem, you're saying?
So, and if I'm putting them into my garland for these roses, I'm not putting a stem on them. I'm just glue gashing them directly into it. And then doing a little leaf. Okay. So you would have, so far, we're building our little, oops. I don't always, I know I showed this because some people like to do them when they're individual flowers, but I would never do that in a bouquet. What's our time?
9:46. Did
So
you
one more
use
of these.
did you use a 350 for that other one?
I didn't. I did a 260 just because it's going to be in the same size bouquet. If you were handing it out to someone just on its own, I would absolutely use a 350 for proportion. But
So
hiding it
so
into
the
this, you're not going to
so the
see. Go ahead.
the purple on that one that you just held up,
Mhm.
it's a 260 or it's 5 inches?
This is all 5 inch. You're going to have to watch it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 5 inch that are split twist and then stacked just like a duplicate garland.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't seen someone make them like that.
Thanks.
Great job.
Came up with that one last year. I hadn't seen anyone do that either. So
Yeah, that's what was that. I thought you'd use like a 350.
so no, I just I don't know how I came up with it. Here's the answer to how do I come up with stuff.
Your
Wow.
artiste.
I just get bored and I'm like, ooh. So a lot of times when I work, the way that I create is a lot of times when I work, I make something and then I'm like, ooh, if you take this and you do it like this, then it actually looks like this. It looks like something else. So, for instance, Stacy, what were we making when I did the flowers or when I did the little spiders? Oh, the leaf. We're about to do a leaf.
Yeah.
And when I was making this leaf, I was like, wow, if we did this, this actually looks like an all 260 spider instead of doing the 5 inch and the 5 inch and then that. And then I made it into spider and then we made all these little spiders for the Halloween thing. But that's literally how I come up with things and create is that when I look at the shape for something, so I might be making something else and I'm like, oh, I think that this might actually make this if I hold it a different way. And then I go off on an ADD side quest until I figure that out. So that's
It's kind of like Bob Ross with his happy accidents.
yeah, except for it's an on purpose side quest.
Yep.
It's all my balloon side quest. Okay, so I want to do the little bow. Okay, I'm going to do this one little flower just so we have 5 in here. This one's a little bit simpler.
Alyssa, I have a little question. At the
Yeah,
top of the hyacinth,
Yeah.
do you leave it as 2 pinch twists or do you put a bubble on top?
So if I run out, then what I do is just a bubble on the top and I'll just trim it really, really close to it because I think that it looks better with a single than with a double on top.
Thank you.
And I just cut it really close to the top.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. This one I'm going to 5. Put a little air out. I'm measuring full base of my thumb. And this is just a variation on a 5-petal or a 6-petal flower. I'm doing like a little, I don't know, dinosaur head, a little claw, little lobster claw. And then I put it through to lock it. And I'm going to do 5 of those. You could keep on measuring against your thumb, or you could measure against your first one. You are going to measure them against each other. It's kind of like, you know how when you make a bunch of bouquets, and you'll notice that like all your bouquets, how it just keeps on getting taller, it keeps on getting shorter, unless you measure against the first one. So you always like keep your first one up, and then you measure your second one against it, your third one against it, your fourth one against it, just because then they end up being more level because they're all compared to the first instead of being compared to, it's like telephone. So same thing. if I'm doing this, see how they're a tiny bit off. But so I'm just going to keep on measuring it against the first one. So that way they'll all be similar. Good. So it's just a little bit more 3D.
Okay, I think I can make that.
There you go.
Anybody else feel like that was one that was like a little bit more, thank you, a little more entry level. Thank you. That was a good one.
They're all chewable.
So that's it? And then you put a center in it?
Yeah, just put a little center in it.
All right. Nice.
If I'm doing something fancy, I think it's cute to do a little.
That could be a lily, right? Like a stargazer lily. I mean, stargazer would have like the color splashes in the middle, but that could be a lily.
It could be. I use them. I do them for under the sea. These end up being my starfish.
Okay.
You could do little clam shells and starfish. So one of the other things that you could do for your center, with what was left, is push in your top that you cut off
Tulip twist.
and do your tulip twist. So that would be a cute little center variation as well. And if you're really feeling fancy, this is what I do on the big flowers. We'll use a 160. So the colors off. Ooh, I have a silver one. Does anybody know what these are called? Oh my gosh.
What are
The
called?
little
Little
ones.
boingers?
Yeah, I call them dingle hoppers. I don't know.
Poodle tail?
I
A poodle
don't know.
tail?
What do you call it?
Poodle tail?
Yeah. These little guys. The little puffs.
Oh, I'm not sure if I'm even really talking about the same thing.
Wow, this is hard to work with.
So are you trying to make two little antennae kind of?
I am trying to make two little antennae.
I find it difficult to make them both on one balloon. You know, it's a job.
Yeah, it's usually not this hard, but it's both a mirror and it's calisand. So it's like a combination
sure.
of two things that are rough. Okay, but I will say they have 160 mirrors, which nobody else does. And that's really nice for sometimes when you're doing something like this that needs to be tiny, or else if you're doing just little bubbles around something. So I will just pull it and tie it into my knot, my center point. Is there an easier way to do this? Possibly, but I don't know it. Okay. And I'm going to push it in. They should have been a little bit longer. I'm feeling my knot and I'm twisting it right above my knot for those like Alexis who are like, what are you actually doing in there? It's a little bit too short.
Or you could do it really long.
Yeah, they look cuter when they're longer, but it wasn't going to move. So this would be a cute little, look, it could be, doesn't it almost look like it could be a snail?
Or a sea
Oh, yeah.
anemone.
Like if
Well,
I
you put
turn
it
this
right coming
into a
out of your
little,
thing.
this is like the front of a little snail guy. So, okay, there we go. But I like to do these all the time on my bigger flowers, but we'll do 3 of them in there, but that's just how you make it super quick. Just to show that.
Sorry,
Okay.
where did you put that?
I'll do it in the center of like a bigger flower. Like if I do a my random flare that I have sitting around.
Mm,
So if we have our flower, like our 5-petal flower,
Okay.
but now we want to dress it up and make it look fancy. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just dress it up
That's
and make it look
another
fancy.
beginner one that could look pretty good.
There we go.
mm.
There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boy, I can't count. I have 7 down here. Okay. So I have my little 5 flower. I like to do one of these on the back too, just to make it flat. Going to take my,
Yeah, that really helps.
push it through. Tie it off. Whoops.
Ooh, that lady.
I'm trying not to do it with my mouth since we're on camera. That's how I actually tighten them up. Bad habits. Look at that. We're over 2. How you make cherries too, or an apple. This is an apple twist. And that's why I use my mouth. Okay. Boy, we don't like that balloon.
Well,
Do you ever just try something a couple times and you decide it's the balloon, not you?
the one that you made with the silver, and I think that was like a dusk pink,
Yeah.
dusk rose or whatever. Couldn't you just put that in the middle of the white flower that you just showed?
It's way too small.
Oh, really? Okay.
Plus, this shouldn't take this long.
One thing leads to another sometimes, and then you're just
So I have my,
So you just took a 5-inch, pushed the knot through the other side, and then used a 260, wrapped it around and
Correct.
knotted or to secure that knot. Is that what you did?
yeah, so that's going to keep this flat. So we're about to do it again, but with our pretty colors that could go with this. So 2 pumps, burp it, stretch it so that you're tying it at the end instead of tying it close to your balloon, because it's just going to make it easier because you have a longer neck to push through. Okay. So now I'm going to, let's go, because I want my colors to go together. Let me show you the easy way to do this. Tie it up in the middle, and then come to this end. Be that hard to push it up. So I have 2 of them. So now we're going to go for 3. So then this will be the center. I'm going to tie this knot around it so it's connected. So see how it just looks like this right now.
Yep.
Same thing, take my thumb, push it through. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center because you could adjust it once it's made. But I like to get it semi-close. Twist it. The rest of my 260. You see it, I'm not below the knot, so I'm probably going to lose it. See? So I use high quality balloons. Imagine trying to do this with like a cheap balloon.
Or nails.
It popped 10 minutes ago. Okay, well, that's tight. That's what I'm looking for, is it's under, see how it's under the knot. Because if it's not under the knot or the little raisin, then it's going to pop out. Aren't they so cute? I love these. So now you have a fancy center,
That's beautiful.
yeah, on your flowers. So this just instantly, so now you have like a simple 5-petal flower, but yet it's going to look so much prettier and so much more elevated. So now you could sell it for a lot more money. And then, but without having to do distortion, but you're still doing techniques that are really elevated. Could you give me the glue dashes, please? And if you wanted to add further, thank you. I'm just going to make a little string of bubbles. And I like to dash every other one.
We can't see what's going on down there, so why don't you tell us? Okay.
So I'm starting with the dashes. That's right. Sorry, I don't know why I have the camera there. Try to do it on my chest. So we'll do every other bubble. You see me still?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Do you have something that you're going to be putting this flower on, Alyssa?
Today, no.
Okay. So what are you glue
I would
dotting?
put these in. I would put these in a little garland, or we could put it. We could put it on a stem and put it in our bouquet. Is what we'll do. And then our little bouquet.
What are you glue dotting?
I am glue dotting the beads so that they don't unravel. So that way they all stay in place.
Okay.
Easier to get them to be level if you're looking at what you're doing instead of holding it in front of your chest. So I'm going to do my last one. Sorry, I know you can't see. I'm off camera.
I have many giggles.
Oh my goodness. So I actually do this on we do this on a base for a bouquet that we sell as a centerpiece as well. And it's a really good seller. We do like 2 rows of quads, and then we do a tiny little eighth. This is just to add 260 because the whole thing is going down now. But we'll pretend like there's the little.
I don't even think you needed it. I mean,
Yeah.
the flower already looks good, but
Just elevates it a little bit more to put that in. So
Yeah.
we'll pretend, but it just gives it the extra little bit. So if you have somebody who wants something like distortion, but say that you don't feel comfortable doing it or don't want to do that outside, then if you just add these little tiny twisted elements to it, I'm going to do this with loops just because it's bigger. Make this longer. So if I was putting it into a garland, I'm putting it into a garland like this. The reason that I have that is because it's flat. It's only 1 balloon instead of 5 balloons. You do just a regular 5-inch balloon that's not flat, then it doesn't keep everything forward. They still tend to bend out of place. Whereas doing this with the little apple twist is just going to keep them all in place. So you notice how it hasn't moved once. But I'm putting it into a bouquet. I'm going to put on my stem instead. And now I have this cute little flower bouquet. So let's give it a bow. For my goop bow, I'm going to play almost the entire way. Arrange my flowers. Usually do this flat on a table, which is much easier.
go ahead. You can lay it down. This is like you're like doing this in a mirror right now. This is like very
I love a
complicated.
challenge. Pull it tight. Twist it. I'm going up. Out.
Very impressive.
Places. Give it a little bubble. Okay, and then to finish it, because see how it looks kind of messy?
Mhm.
Yep.
So I'm going to do is find my shortest one. And I'm going to cut them all to that length.
Cute.
Yeah, so now we have our little bouquet with our 2 big flowers.
That is gorgeous.
3 little flowers. Okay. So this would be something, again, that I'm going to have this would be something that put them into my garland. I could add my roses with a glue dash. I could add these to the front, have them be, I sometimes do like a little tiny base, have them stand up, or else I just glue dash them straight to it so that it looks like they're growing from the ground instead of just randomly throughout. That's where I usually use these ones. It's just like on the bottom, glue dash attached to it, and a tiny little cluster in front hiding the bottoms. These I would put throughout. These I would put throughout. The extra little, oh, I forgot to add this guy. This guy we would put throughout. Let's go ahead and stick him in there too. And then you could have the companion bouquet that they get, which sometimes say that someone's like, oh, well, I want to spend this much money. Sometimes they just need a little boost. Like, well, if you spend this much, then you get a free companion bouquet that has a $100 value. And then they just bump their order because you could tell them about, you know, just how nice it is for them to be using it. They have something to hold, they're more interactive, and it's going to become a more memorable backdrop for them than just standing there. And this kind of stuff just helps you book more jobs because not everybody can do this.
So I tried to put these circles around my center and
Yeah.
it just got kind of warbly. Did I not tuck them in far enough?
That's why I use the glue dashes.
I have glue dashes on,
You
but
do? Yeah, I think it's easier to do it if it's flat. Like if it's flat, then it does go around pretty well. I could see how some of it's just standing up. It's just standing up more. Yeah, even there, it's a little bit better. Maybe if it was, I think that even just pushing the balloons down, that worked better.
push them down in tighter. Because I like that. It's really, really added on. But did you just do one bubble per balloon kind of? Because I was doing one that stuck on here and then one in between, and then the next one that stuck on here and then one in between.
Do you know what? Honestly, I usually do just a row. I do 1-inch bubbles, and then I
however
pull
they
it
fall.
around, and I just attach it on every other one. I don't pay attention to where the balloons are.
Okay.
Nice job, Alyssa. Thank you. If you want to get pictures of each of those flowers, like front facing, or even like the purple ones, just kind of like hanging to the side, I can add those in for everybody to use as well, since that hopefully they're going to be able to try out these techniques too.
Absolutely. So cute.
Awesome.
It's gorgeous.
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 Can I see your regular rose, Alyssa? It's right there. Can you just twist it for me a tiny bit? Okay, cute.
I always call these tulips. I know a lot of people call those roses. To me,
I make my roses that way, so that's why I wanted to see yours.
yeah, because I know for a lot of people, I'll show it super quick too. The tulip is actually just what I consider to be a giant bird body,
Oh yeah.
where you
I
just
usually
go,
do my tulips just with a bell pepper and 3 little dots or pinch twist on top.
oh, you do pinch twist on top. See, I see it all the time without even.
Because then I feel like it just looks like a bell pepper. I don't know.
That's why I
I
don't
have
like
never
such.
called it a bell pepper, but now I cannot unsee that.
Right?
Exactly. I've never called it a bell pepper either, and now it is what it is. Sorry, I'm sure that was a great view if you could see me. I'm like, I knocked something over. I do have to say, these were sitting in my car all day and it was hot out. So just be careful of that, guys, if you have 260s, because it does degrade them. If it gets warm and if you leave a pack of 260s in your car, you will get more pops. So, yeah, so that one is, so you do 3 little twists on top for it?
Yes, exactly like that.
How many times do you go up and down? How many bells does your bell pepper have?
Usually 4, 5, depending.
See, I lost one of those already. I think I just made this whole thing go down by doing that. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like an open tulip. Let's go ahead and put it in there. And then you could add that to the store too.
I think doing a cute
see.
your cute little flower base, and I know you do this all the time already, but that cute little upgraded flower base would be a great lead in for marketing for Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Order your Mother's Day bouquet now, and get this cute little upgraded base.
Perfect in there.
Cute.
Any other questions?
I have a question on, again, working with these circles that go around the center that has the dealy boppers on.
Okay.
How do you start it and end it? Do you start
I-
it down under?
I end up tying it end to end.
Okay,
So
All right.
and then just cutting it really close.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Because I find that when I tuck it underneath, it makes the balloons pop up. Because I have tried that.
In a good way? Or,
No, in a bad way. In a way that it
Okay.
doesn't look correct.
oh,
Okay, so
tuck it, yeah, if you started at the bottom, yeah, okay.
colors that I used. Fashion green, reflex violet, and actually mirror violet. They're virtually the same. Do you see that? They're so close.
Yeah,
That's
reflex and mirror.
That's the mirror and that's the reflex. It was the Aura Lilac Purple. I don't know the exact name of it. For the bow and for the little, this part. This is Pastel Dust Cream and this is Pastel Dust Lavender. And this is Orchid. Sea glass, which we didn't use. But I love these colors together. Doesn't it look so pretty? They all go.
It does.
And then I also like to mix the textures. Just because we have some that are more matte and some that are shiny, I feel like it makes it. And then like these are more matte than the, hold on, I'll grab that. I don't have any 260 in this, but like the reflex amethyst. You can see the difference just in the texture. It's very similar, but this one is a little bit more gray.
Mhm.
These have like a unusual.
Nicely done. Okay, any other questions on the flowers that she's made or the techniques that she's used?
Thank you, Alyssa.
You're welcome. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am definitely gonna try these. I will post this recording, you guys. You can slow it down and stop it. So if you can get a little bit more time, which I am certain that I will need, you can refer to this video. But Alyssa is also very willing to help people. So like if you want to post something in the community and ask her a question, she's very responsive and loves to help. And if you did create any of these flowers, like please take a picture and post it in the community or send it to me if you want it to be added to the full catalog. But as you know, you can always upload your own photos to your design studio. But thank you guys. Thank you so much, Alyssa. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I
Bye-bye.
love
you.
this.
Nice to see you all. Have a great
Bye-bye.
week. Okay? Bye.